What's the most expensive watch to go out on auction?
31 million. That was charity. Hey guys, so welcome to episode 3 of Time to Taste. We are at Osteria Fiorentina with a very, very dear friend, Alexandre Ghotbi. Thank you so much for being here. We're really, really pleased to have you.
I'm delighted. Thank you for inviting me. Looks absolutely amazing, and I love cooking and I love eating, so it's a good place to be.
And welcome back, my co-host.
I'm so glad that I'm still here.
She hasn't left London from episode 1, so she's kind of...
Absolutely, I've moved here temporarily. It's so great to be back, and I'm so happy that we Genevans get to meet in this beautiful capital. We've got so much food in front of us. Dylan, do you want to walk us through what we'll be doing, what we'll be cooking?
It's really, really straightforward. Couple of friends having a great conversation over a meal that we're going to cook together. No airs, no graces. This is our first time being in a formal kitchen, a commercial kitchen. Yeah. So it's going to be quite a different experience. And I'm personally very much looking forward to it. I think I've expressed this. I wanted to be a chef growing up, so it's a beautiful thing for us. Alex, have you ever cooked in a commercial space before?
No, I'm a home cook. So I love cooking at home, it relaxes me. On weekends, I love thinking in advance of what I'm going to be cooking for the friends, for the family, etc. So, but now this time it's the first time I'm going to be in a professional setting. So it's a bit overwhelming, exciting, but really looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be super fun. As I was telling you guys before we started shooting, I am so excited that I'm allowed to get my hands all over everything and touch and play with all of the different kitchen tools. Because same as you, I'm a home cook and I love to try new tools and try new recipes. And here I'm licensed to play with this, and it's so exciting.
And the good part is you don't have to clean up after.
None of that. It's fine. We're going to get along very well.
Exactly.
So we're going to be making a very simple panzanella salad and a T-bone steak. I hope you're hungry, and I'm excited.
I'm famished, and what is there not to love?
Whilst we're here, tell us about what's on your wrist today.
It's one of, people know me as a big fan of independent watchmaking, but I also have a soft spot for Cartier. So this is actually the original mono pusher from the Tortue mono pusher from the 90s with the THA movement. So it has that bit of a independent vibe to it because the movement was developed with, Jour, Halter, and Flageolet when they had created THA. I love the size, I love the look. It's restrained, it's elegant, and it was at service for almost a year. So I got it back a couple of days ago. So I'm going to be wearing it for some more time. Yeah, it's a great watch.
I would never have guessed that that's a Cartier. It's not a shape that I'm used to see.
It's their Tortue, which is kind of a cushion shape with the top, which is more flat. But I would say it's their less known shape. Everybody looks at the Tank 113 and now the Crash, etc. So I think this is probably one of their most restrained designs. And the size is, it may seem small for today's taste, but today's taste, people are actually going back to smaller sizes. So no, it's and I love it. And the fact that it's a mono pusher, so you don't have the chronograph pushers on top and bottom, so it's through the crown, so it also gives it much more purity to the design.
It's very elegant.
Thank you.
And they just brought the re-edition back last year during Watches and Wonders.
So they brought the re-edition back last year. It's a larger watch. It's a beautiful watch. It has a new movement, which was totally designed for that watch. It's a great piece, but I kind of have this romantic thing of going back to the first original re-edition with a THA movement. So yeah.
And your strap matches perfectly with the apron, which I'm really happy about.
I thought this over, total. I'm matching the watch and the apron.
It's all on purpose.
Exactly.
Great.
Good eye.
Well,
we picked some tomatoes and some stuff.
Well, Dylan, I know that you're very excited to play with apples.
Yeah, so I have an apple allergy, and I'm going to try and stay as far away from that as possible.
I actually didn't know that you could get an allergy that's so bad that even touching an apple's?
I think it's progressed. So when I was in university, there was a farmer's market, and I was obsessed with apples. So it was an apple that I developed, and it probably self-inflicted.
It's not an apple you developed.
No, it's an allergy. There's this farmer's market, and I used to go every Thursday, and I used to get them to basically take the apples and press them fresh, and I used to buy them by the pint and the gallon. And I would drink them, from Thursday to Thursday the next week and go and replenish. So I probably just, inflicted it myself. And
Avoid farmers markets at all costs.
Yeah, go to the supermarket.
Clearly, processed food.
why don't we grab some of our fresh vegetables?
Fantastic.
And then we'll talk about, how you got into your journey with watches and how you built an incredible career around it.
Listen, it's going to be a long story, so I think we'll have to cut the tomatoes slowly.
I believe we need tomatoes, onions, and just basil.
Some basil, and I think some bread, which we probably have downstairs.
And we've got cucumber coming up. In Serbian, these are called paradise because they're so good.
Oh,
that
okay.
They're heavenly.
It's one red onion basil. You just snip it off. So
That's fancy.
whoops.
Amazing. So you actually were a lawyer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I went to law school. I was a lawyer for about 12, 13 years in Paris. I was doing financial law. And just to tell you how crazy I was about watches, my very first job at a law firm that I accepted, it wasn't the most prestigious law firm. It wasn't where I was going to make the most money. But the first day I go for my interview, and I still remember vividly, the partner I was supposed to work with, he was wearing a Breguet tourbillon.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, okay, this guy, he's going to be my closest friend. I love him. And, for me, it was a big deal. I was in my early 20s. And then I went for a second interview, and he was wearing a Cartier Tank Americaine. And then the third interview, he was wearing a Rolex Daytona. I'm like, okay, this was the only reason I went and joined that firm. I stayed for 6 months. I hated every second of it. But there you go. That started my journey.
And it was that kind of made you want to get into watches, or it was like you seeing people that...
No, I think I started being into watches when I was around 12, 13 when the Swatch watch came out. My parents used to go to Switzerland a lot, and they used to every time come back with a small watch. And then all of a sudden the Swatch watch became a big deal, and everybody in class had a Swatch. And we used to trade swatches, I like your red strap, I like your blue strap, and then...
Would you do that today with a bunch of independent watches?
Yeah, if I can trade up. Definitely. But so it started with a Swatch, and then, as I grew up, I was more and more interested in watches. I used to just spend my time in watch shops and at watch fairs, etc. And it just became from an obsession until I could actually buy my very first nice watch. And my very first nice watch was not a Rolex or an Omega as most people do when entering the hobby. It was a Daniel Ross. It was Yep.
Fantastic.
You know what? I had seen it in magazines, and I thought it was incredibly original, etc. And then I obviously couldn't afford a brand new one. And I waited until I saw one in a secondhand store. It was a steel Daniel Ross, time only, with a salmon dial. I loved it. It was so cool. Yeah. And my friends made so much fun of me at the time. Like, what is wrong with you? What is that kind of weird shape you're wearing? But there you go. And here we are.
Wow, what a beautiful story. And then so you were at, your law school. You went to work in a law firm in Paris. And then you moved to Geneva, or how did that transition?
Yeah, so what happened is in early 2000s, with a friend of mine, Thomas Mao, we created this watch discussion forum called The Purists, which actually still exists now. It's called Purist Pro, and this is way before social media, Facebook, Instagram, etc. And it was a way for watch nerds to connect and talk. I know my friends I used to talk to them about watches. After a few seconds, their eyes started becoming hazy, saying, "Stop." This is.
Was it like an MSN group or a blog, like internet?
No, it was actually an internet online forum discussion. Yeah, so it started off as an Audemars Piguet forum, and then we added the HCI, then Chopard, then Breguet, then Lange, then Rashomon, etc., etc. So I was moderating that for a few years, and it really started growing. We started getting invited to SIHH, Watches and Wonders, and Basel Fair. Actually, the first time I went to Watches and Wonders, or SIHH at the time, was in 2000. In 2001, when we created the forum, we were invited by retailer friends who said we're their employees, so that we could get the invitation. And we went to, I remember, to one brand, and it was with a friend of mine, and we're taking photos and everything. And the PR person's like, "What are you guys doing?" We're like, "We're taking photos." Like, "Why?" "Oh, because we run an online forum." "What? Internet? Ugh, disgusting. Get out." They kicked us out of the They kicked us out of the room. Yeah, exactly. So we felt so humiliated. We left. And then a few years later, please come back, etc. So at the time, I started also doing some consultancy for brands in terms of digital. Brands didn't know what digital was. And client marketing. At the time, brands, they had retailers, so they were selling to retailers, were selling to the final client.
So they didn't know
They didn't know what the final client was. So I started doing some consultancy, etc. And at one point, Vacheron Constantin, whom I was working with, says, "Listen, would you think of coming to Geneva and helping us set up, CRM, more in digital, etc." And for me, it was a 1 second decision.
If you manage the CRM of Vacheron Constantin, all I'm hearing is you have Brad Pitt's address. We're going to become very good friends.
That was... this was 2008, and the clients were less, I would say, sexy than Brad Pitt. But happy to try to get it for you.
I'm actively looking.
Well, he may be a client of Phillips, but I'm not saying.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I joined Vacheron in 2008. It was just setting up all the. It was the beginning. So stayed there for 7.5 years, and then one day, and the watch business is all about how you meet people, friends, and etc. And one day I went to have lunch with my friend Paul Boutros, also a collector who went into the watch business, and now he's head of the Americas for Phillips. And he's like, "Oh, what do you want to do now?" Like, "You know what? I think I'm going to quit and go start my own business and do, digital and client marketing for smaller brands." And he's like, "Forget it. That doesn't make sense. We're looking at somebody at Phillips for Geneva." Like, "Ooh, that sounds exciting." So I met Aurel Bax, who's the head of the watch department and the founder of the watch. He's phenomenal.
So impressive. I was at the auction, the Child Action auction.
Yeah.
Wonderful piece. Such a great energy. I mean, to me,
he's the best.
Auctions are so much fun. They're so exciting.
I have a friend. He's like, he feels that the fact that he can resist Aurel and not bid an extra increment is like a big deal. And he tells people, he's like, he looked at me and I looked at him and I did not raise my panel. And he was very proud of himself. So shout out to you, Gary.
He's a bit intimidating when he says, he's like, "You want the watch? It's going once, going."
He'll look at you like, "Okay, I'll just lift my panel." As he stops.
No, I saw during Geneva Watch Days, there was also managing one. And at some point, I see there's this taille crayon, the pen sort of from MB&F, and I hear it goes up, and I'm like, "Who is bidding this much?" And then I turn around, and it's my mom with her bottle, and I see Max looking at her like, "Maya, stop! You don't need this." So, yeah, he's got that.
Just to be in the same room as him. Yeah, exactly. So, talk about Max. Actually, it turned out that Max told Aurel, "You should look at Alex. He wants to leave." And Aurel I knew Paul, so he's like, "Paul, go have lunch with the guy and see and test the waters." So it all
It's all about the community of people in watchmaking. I feel like once you know one person and you show interest, then you're warmly welcomed easily. But
You know, for
the
years,
more people you know, the better the
for
opportunity.
years, the watch community was regarded to be as sexy as somebody who collected, you know,
Stamps.
stamps is most sexy. Not watches, believe me. It's like becoming some kind of, you know, collecting, you know, caps or bottles, you know, or something very not sexy. So, you know, we got to really had to stick together. And now, and it's true, it's a great community. And I always say it before, you know, the most important before the auctions or the watch fairs and whatever is getting to see the community again, the friends that you've made who come over or you go to see them, etc. once or twice a year during the fairs, and it's great fun. And so, you know, the auction season, the watch fair season, it's just a big fun party where you're just hanging out with your friends.
So it's incredible because, I mean, it is that bond between collectors, the bond between the brands and the collectors that brings people coming back. And I think that's so important for an auction house because obviously you have your online, your digital, but there's nothing like going to Geneva, being in that room and the energy that happens.
I mean, look at it during lockdown COVID. As soon as people could come out, everybody was mingling once again because you need that human interaction, and nothing will ever replace the human interaction. Digital is good, you know, internet, whatever, but meeting and spending physical time with each other, it's nothing better.
It's funny you say that. That's literally why Geneva Watch Days was invented.
Exactly.
It was post-COVID, getting people to see each other, and it's after the holidays, everyone wants to talk, to catch up with their friends. It's not as B2B as Watches and Wonders would be.
Yeah.
And that's the whole energy. And I remember, I think Phillips joined the second year? Or
We joined the second year.
Yeah.
We joined
And
the
you had
second,
this exhibition in the middle also. It was so nice. That's how I discovered the watches there.
The watches that we had, yeah.
Great.
No, I mean, listen, I love these watch fairs because just to get to see a lot of people. And even now, Watches and Wonders, okay, you have the main fair at Night Expo.
Yeah.
But then you have all the smaller brands or just the brands exhibiting in the hotels. And then, you know, you just go in, you walk in, hi, do you have time? Do you have 5 minutes to look at watches? Yes, no. And then, you know, you just get to meet a lot of people that you would normally not get to see, discover brands that you didn't know.
Is there a brand that you've discovered recently that you thought was intriguing?
I think there was one I really enjoyed at the Iceberg at the HCI, seeing a lot of the non-Swiss brands, a lot of the Chinese brands that, and I'm not going to pronounce their name because I'm going to totally destroy it. But, you know, we always have this impression that anything that comes from China is cheap, but that's not true.
I think Roland Marie's really fought this.
Roland Marie, but I'm talking about some of the independent
Absolutely.
Chinese watchmakers who, you know, do everything by hand, and there's some really great stuff. Roland Marie is one of those, you know, COVID brands that, you know, they really made it big. And then you have a Space One, which creates really cool, funky watches, great designs, great horology, at very, very affordable prices. I mean, they have a Tellurium that was launched with an aventurine dial for 3,000 euros.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It's a lot of money, but
for what you
it's
get,
very
it's
affordable.
the value for money
Yeah,
is great.
exactly.
Yeah.
So there's always like all these new guys you want to see. I think those Berneron, which I discovered, super cool design. Who else? That's a trick question. You should have asked me before, so I could.
It's all about the spur of the moment.
Exactly. If something else pops up, I'll definitely let you know. But yeah,
It's funny because the market's slowing down a little bit, but we've had this rise of independence, and you've been a big part of the rise of independence. And now I think there's new, smaller brands that, I mean, everybody's got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
That are rising up, and I mean, there's conversations within the industry to see, are they going to survive the slowdown or not? I think it's gonna let all the independents that do have great quality and value for money
Exactly.
survive and rise up.
but I think what's really great right now in the market is there's a bit of something for everybody.
Yep.
You want a traditional vintage kind of piece at a very affordable price, and you don't care that the movement is metal quartz or not. You can go get a Roland Marie. They also have their mechanical. You want something super handmade, etc. You can go get a Roger Smith. since we're in London, we can talk about British watchmaking. Independence, I think it's like everything. There's right now a lot of independents who have come to the market. Kind of reminds me of, the early 2000s before the internet bubble, where you had any kid who was 12 years old had a computer, set up his business in his garage, and people were like, here, take my money. And then the bubble burst, and then the few of them survived. So there's independent and there's independent. You have those who have something to say, those who have, you can really feel their DNA in their watches. It could be to your taste or not to your taste, but there's something going on.
True to...
Exactly. Others, they just come, make a watch, and then they'll probably disappear because they realize how difficult it is to make a piece. So there's a lot. Yeah, the independents have grown, and now they have, there's social media, which the guy when, MBNF and Argenviane started, or Daniel Roth or whatever, there was none of that. So they had to, find a way to get themselves. So they had patrons, etc. Now, you post or you get on a blog, etc. So they have easier access to their collectors. That's why I think there's so much talk about them. And, collectors also now want things that you don't find everywhere. And obviously, it's, I don't know, Theo Offray who makes 10 watches a year, it's always going to be away.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Shall we make our way downstairs and get the salad going, put the steak on the grill?
That's a good way of saying you talk too much. I told you. Right?
You and me both. Let's head downstairs. Again, alone.
Ooh, we enter a whole different world.
So, welcome to a professional kitchen.
Okay, wow, this is a lot of pressure here.
So I believe, we're going to be doing a T-bone steak and an amazing panzanella salad. The gentlemen at the beautiful restaurant have kindly provided us with some of the freshest ingredients that we have available. So looking forward to seeing what we can rustle up. And
Listen, maybe the start of a new career. Let's give it a try.
Absolutely.
we're going to let your talent shine. You've told us how much of a great home chef you are. So
No. I said I enjoy it. I didn't say people enjoy eating what I did. That was a nuance there.
This is your, the step up on that ladder. So
Okay,
let me official.
If I manage not to cut myself up, that's already a big...
If you do cut yourself up, please make sure to look at the camera and cry really loudly.
Okay, I think that would be good for the audience.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I like
Thank
it.
you.
Could be a good TV moment, as somebody else said. Anyway, do I start?
So what do you start with?
Let's start with the
tomatoes steak because we're going to take
Oh,
the
right.
Okay,
Okay,
So-
well, it's a heart-shaped T-bone.
absolutely
It looks
phenomenal looking.
stunning.
Tilted mixture. Whap.
Ooh, the sleeves are coming out.
The sleeves are coming up, exactly.
Do you usually cook with your watch on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's the only time I can actually use it to time something, right?
Do you actually?
No. Well, you always say you don't do choreograph
Sorry.
for your... Exactly.
I saw online that apparently you can cook a neck by putting just boiling water around it for 11 minutes. So I tried it the other day. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. It doesn't cook your egg at all.
So let's first oil.
The oil is right in front of you.
Yeah.
Right.
This is very satisfying.
Ooh. Are you a painter?
No.
Oh.
Whoops, sorry.
We've all got the same references.
Yeah, that's sad. You want to pepper it?
I'll pepper it in. How peppery do you want it?
Pretty peppery. Okay.
Perfect.
That's a nice pepper crust.
Yeah.
Shall we
Give it a good flip.
Yeah.
give it a flip?
Did you know that Peugeot actually made pepper mills before they made cars?
I do because I actually, they were one of my clients when I was a lawyer.
Oh, wow.
That's super cool.
There you go.
Well, do you have any insights?
On the pepper mills?
Yeah.
Nope.
So I realized earlier that you have a legal background, and so do two of our past hosts. So out of 3 episodes, we've got Mocha Paletta, who happens to have a law degree,
Really?
and Tom.
You know what? I've known Mo for 20 years, and I did not know he had a law degree.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh. Listen to that sizzle.
Come back in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It looks so good.
It does.
We can stare at it for 20 minutes too.
It's like warm your heads.
From lots of watches. So, I mean, there's a market there. There's
Or there's lawyers don't have that many friends, so they have to make friends in the watching. You have to find a hobby till people start liking you.
It's so interesting because I would say that today maybe a good 50-60% of my friend group derive from some kind of watch-related passion, or either they're from the industry or got to meet each other through social media because of the passions that brought us together. And also, I think it's because you have the same mindset, right? You can appreciate certain things. You
can actually sit there and talk about escapements and design and moon phase and whatever, and the other guy will actually find it quite interesting. And talk back
We're
to you.
all nerds.
Exactly. You go talk about a detent escapement to somebody. They go, yeah, whatever. Okay, I'm out. So it's still a nerdy thing. So do I start cutting up the?
So
Let's start with the tomato.
If I remember right, did he start with the bread and the? We had a little crash course on how the meal should be prepped.
It's the bread with the onions, some vinegar.
Yeah.
And then the tomatoes and the cucumber, some olive oil. There's some olive oil also on the bread.
Yeah.
But a drizzle.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you put them all together. I make them look like the markers on a dial.
Yes.
Exactly.
12.
12.
Fantastic.
So let's start with the tomatoes and try not to cut myself up.
Now we're in the.
I think.
We're like good students in the back.
You're just making sure, for the
Top knife, huh?
for insurance purposes that I don't end up.
We've got nothing to do with it if you've cut yourself.
Exactly. It's your responsibility.
Steak falsely, yeah.
So, how did he cut this up? Like,
Yeah, it's like they're halves.
yeah.
Let's show they're cut like this. With an Allegra. When you were gone, we mentioned Martha Stewart, but that's yeah.
And a whole legend has a myth
So-
has been debunked.
I knew deep in my bones, to my core, that Martha Stewart had played Princess Leia in Star Wars. Turns out that's absolutely not right.
I didn't think that was correct. And you never dare tell them.
I
didn't
never
want to spoil
thought
it for you.
that they were two different people. So I've had this role model, who's a completely. It was a complete
Made up.
lie.
Yeah. Made up role model.
Terrifying.
Talking about role models, Alex, who's been kind of your biggest inspiration, through your career?
I think a role model. I wouldn't say a role model, but I think there was two people who really had an impact on my professional life in watches. One is Max Buser. So the early 2000s, I had a good friend of mine, Jean-Baptiste Viau, who's a phenomenal watchmaker. He does a lot of restoration work, and he was thinking of creating his own watch brand. And we talked, and he's like, "Listen, why don't you come with me? I'll do the watchmaking, and then you can take care of marketing and finance and whatever." I'm like, "Yeah, definitely, let's do it." So I had set up a whole business model, etc., and I had written to different brands, asking for financing or collaborations and something. And Max at the time was doing the Opus projects with Harry Winston. Wow. So I thought maybe this could be interesting. So I write to Max. I didn't hear back from anybody, obviously. And one day I was at the office. It was like 7:30 in the evening. Phone rings. "Hi, this is Max Buser." Like, oh my God. Okay, this is it. We're in business. And for an hour and a half, he totally destroyed and shredded my business plan, saying, "You didn't think of this. This is wrong. You should have done this."
And you knew him before that?
Not at all. He just gave me a call. And while he was like still there, slapping me around, I was like, at one point, and then we hung up. Like, wow, this guy is the CEO of a watch brand, of a very, prominent watch brand. And he took an hour and a half of his life to call some total random guy and explain to give advice. And this was, I remember this was in 2003, because then I went to Basel and I met him, and they were doing the Opus 3. That's how I remember the date, and we met,
Amazing.
and we became, acquaintance and then friends. And he really, every time I had questions on what to do, what not to do, I went through him, and he's the one who told Aurel Bax that he should hire me at Phillips. So if it wasn't thanks to Max at the beginning, I probably wouldn't be at.
You'd be a lawyer.
I would still be there. I know I would have created my own,
Right.
social media thing. I would be an influencer today. It's the beginning. There we are. And then I think definitely the second one is Aurel Bax. Not only on his vision of watches, of the industry of vintage, which I liked vintage watches a lot, but liking something and making it a profession is two different things. So that really opened, and just the way of the work ethics, the organization, the creative mind, etc. So I feed a lot off Aurel. Yeah, sorry.
Well, he's so sweet.
He is.
There's not a mean bone in his body. He's
Ask his wife. Okay. Cut that out.
he's adorable.
He is. He's
So
a great guy. He's a great guy.
Wow, you're looking good on this.
Oof. That looks yummy. So do we have to create the little panzanella? That was very. And we haven't even started drinking yet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're missing wine.
Just get the steak upstairs. Well,
Absolutely.
So what's next?
Okay, next. Well, you've got the onion,
I put the onions. I did
You've
the
got
cucumber.
the
So
bread. So now
now I create. I create.
I create.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So some bread.
Yeah.
So I don't know the amount you're supposed to put in, but
The
I guess.
camera is your pupil, so you wanna show him
Some bread,
crumbs.
some breadcrumbs, some onions. I don't know if the.
I think you can put a bit more.
I
huh?
think I can put a bit
he's
more.
afraid because he's taking a flight after this.
Okay,
and
no more.
Do you know the person sitting next to you?
No, but
Do you want to know them?
that's the question we should be asking them. So some vinegar, my understanding was. Some of the restaurant owners' olive oil.
Beautiful.
Am I doing my job correctly?
So
That's kind of.
It's fantastic.
So some olive oil,
Tomatoes in there, and then
cucumbers,
yeah.
some more. This time a lot of olive oil.
Shake it.
Nope.
In Pilates, they call it pulse.
Okay, I'll be pulsing my food. Some salt. And then it was like,
Oh yeah, he was doing this.
I just hope it doesn't splatter all over the place. Okay. When he did it, it just looked better and easier.
Well, he does do that most days.
Yeah. And then you set it out as the markers on the dial, right?
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, incredible.
Beautiful.
No. Listen, let's compare it to the chefs.
Oh, we're missing the basil.
Ah.
No, that goes on top, no?
Yeah, yeah. But he's to compare it.
Honestly, it's
Same.
It's a
I
win
can't
for me.
see a difference.
It's a win for me, Alex.
Oh, you guys are too good. Voila.
This is
Okay. See,
Different.
there's always something.
Amazing.
There you go. This looks good.
I would pay for that. Okay, I would pay for that salad.
Please be my guest. Let me invite you. It's on me.
fantastic. Then we can put these.
I'm gonna let this. I think the steak is pretty much done. We don't want to overcook it. We want a good medium rare.
Yeah, excellent.
Searing off the fat cap,
How often do you like meat?
I love meat.
and then we rest it for a bit.
You have to rest it for as long as it cooked.
Yeah.
Wow. Now you're cooking. Do you time that too?
Yeah, that's the only time I actually need a chronograph, right?
Can we get that nice looking?
Oof, it's heavy.
What's heavy?
It's ardoise. It's gonna be heavier.
And now you have to put it where?
And we
Under the heat? No, it has to remain under some kind of heat system, no?
I think
Where's the chef?
Alan.
I think we could just leave it there for the time being and let it rest. You know, your wife's gonna see this and be like, Alex, you know, now she knows how you can make a salad. So you're on salad duty for the next couple of months.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. At home, if I want to eat, I have to cook.
Oh,
Because I don't get any, I don't get any cooking done at all. Then I'm like, someone's like, honey, you know, I would like you to make food once in a while. And I come home and she bought like sushi. Like, no. Okay, let me redefine cooking for you.
well,
But she does other things.
Are you filming this? Can I make a comment? I'm joking.
Tom and Justin got very open about their relationship, and it hasn't aired yet, but we'll see what
We'll
happens.
see how strong that is.
you're of Iranian heritage.
Yeah, I was actually born there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. We left in 79. I was 8 years old at the revolution.
And then that's when you moved to Paris.
No, I moved first to the US, then to London,
Oh, wow.
then to Paris, and then I went to boarding school here and there. Came back to Paris for law school, moved to London to work as a lawyer, moved back to Paris, and then Geneva.
Where in the U.S. did you live?
Bethesda, Maryland. God knows where that is for a lot of people, but it's next to Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Great place. I really enjoyed my time there, yeah.
So
Yeah, it was fun.
I've recently discovered Iranian food. I don't know where I've been hiding for this.
That's incredible.
But-
You need to like kebabs and rice.
Do you make kobide and gourmet sabji?
I make the stews.
Okay.
Those are what you make at home, and then the kubide is normally what you eat outside because you need the whole grill and other stuff. Okay, you know, I heard there's a really good Iranian restaurant in London, so
The
I'll
one
take
runs
you,
around the corner here.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know which one.
It's called Baron Jack.
Oh, Baron Jack. Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah. It's the original ones in Soho.
Okay.
And there's always a massive queue outside, but it's fantastic food.
Listen, that's my treat next time we go. I come to London. Well,
I
take
tried
you.
one in Geneva, in Paquis, Tehran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it good?
It was. I mean, I don't have much to compare it to, but I really liked the food.
My favorite is Hafez
Okay.
in Adrien National.
Yeah.
And it's actually owned by Serbian guys. So, you know, the best Iranian is served by Serbians.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to say.
You have to
hi.
definitely get your
Maybe
right.
my mom's Syrian. So
Yeah, I understood when you explained to me about the
Paradise.
paradise
Absolutely.
tomato.
Very important. But I mean, to be honest, the tomatoes don't taste anything like the Swiss tomatoes in Serbia. They're so juicy. They're actual fruits. Yeah.
They don't taste like water. I mean, they basically have taste. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. But the biggest exporter of tomatoes in Europe, I think, is the Dutch. So
Yeah.
those tomatoes never seen sun.
And they haven't even seen soil.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
And these.
The greenhouses.
Yeah, but it's super impressive. Like, it's great engineering that you can have all these vertical farms.
Yeah.
But again, not the same.
Basically, it's helpful if you want something red in your food with no taste.
Very water.
Exactly.
Very hydrating. Fantastic. So how long do we leave now?
I'd say another 2 minutes. And
Okay,
then we
and should I just do this last one? I'll just mix it up in the same place. Yeah, I guess. It's okay now.
We're fine. So you cook a lot at home.
Yeah.
You live in Geneva, right?
I live in, right outside in Hermos.
Oh, it's so nice. I love Hermos.
Nice.
Hermos is so beautiful. You have this beautiful restaurant that opens. I always go in the beginning of summer on the terrace by the lake.
The Auberge d'Hermos. I know, Le Café du Quai.
Le Café du Quai.
It's really nice.
And then Auberge d'Hermos, I go for La Chasse.
Is that where the best chicken is?
No.
You know?
Where's the best chicken?
Auberge d'Hermos?
The
No,
chicken they have.
That's Julie.
No, Auberge d'Hermos, they have the chicken which is cooked in salt.
Yeah, in the salt. The
yes.
salt
Okay.
baked chicken.
That's really good.
My bad.
fantastic.
You're right. Right. But
Come on.
I don't know. I thought you were talking about Julie. I was like, Julie is it's the other way around, and it's known for tarte à la crème, which
Really? No, I've never been there. I've just heard of it a lot.
we have to go so many places.
So what would be your top 3 restaurants in Geneva? If somebody's going to Geneva for a watch and food tour, like, where are we going?
Okay. So the François Paul Jaune restaurant, which is really, really good. And it's you know, they got a Michelin star.
I know, in 9 months. That's something.
Exactly. And it's super fine dining, but in a bistro atmosphere, which I really like. There's this thing called Eat Me in Eau Vive. It's a mix of it's the chef's travels, so you can have Mexican next to North African next to European,
Oh.
and everything fits really well. And then there's one which I mean, there's a lot of them, but they keep coming and going. But I also like Roberto,
Yeah.
which is an institution. It's very old-fashioned. I think the waiters have been there for the past 60 or 70 years
Yeah,
themselves.
they're as old as the building.
They're as old as the building, but it's good because you know that they've been there. They know their job.
They know the menu by heart.
Exactly. It's very typical old school Italian dining, so I really enjoyed it. But I read somewhere that Geneva is the city in the world that has the most restaurants per inhabitants.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I guess
But it's nothing like what you guys have here in the
no, but
where-
what I find that in Geneva, the quality is really good.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
It is very expensive. I mean,
Even when the quality is not good, it's
Yeah.
exactly.
but I'd say on the whole, you have very good ingredients. I mean, your meat, your steak, your beef is fantastic. Yeah. Your cheese is obviously great. But then your raw produce is very, very fresh, very, tasteful. And I think they have a real knack of putting things together in a very elegant way, which, perhaps French cooking, on the other hand, is perhaps too heavy, a lot of cream. I mean, I love French food.
I mean,
But
I
you
think
find that balance.
I
which
think in
think-
Switzerland, the interesting thing is, Swiss cuisine is non-existent other than, I guess, raclette and any
Fondue
cheese-based,
and-
yeah. So we
Tartiflette.
a tartiflette.
Very
I think
important.
tartiflette is from Savoie.
It's with
Let's not start a war with the French.
it's Swiss reblochon.
Yeah, but French have reblochon as well.
Well,
I'm not going to walk this. This is going to be
We
a
have
diplomatic
reblochon.
issue. Exactly. It's good.
so you were born in
In Iran,
Iran, and then you moved, and
to the U.S.
yeah. But how come you moved so often?
So my mom, she had family in the U.S. and she had gone to school in the U.S.
Okay.
My father was a francophone, and so we moved first to the U.S. and then he wanted us to move to a French-speaking country, and I think they kind of halfway agreed to go to Europe or an English-speaking country. So we came to
Right.
to London, and then I think he won the whole,
Which back then was still, yeah.
which was still Europe.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's technically still it's still.
I don't know.
It's
physically
physically in
and
Europe anyway.
geographically, it definitely is.
So, and then lived a bit there, and then he won the whole war of where to live, and we went to move to Paris. Yum, look at that. That's
That looks
incredible.
Stunning.
Do you want to
No, go ahead.
No, no.
To you. The honors to you.
give it a good...
It's so good.
Well done, guys.
well done. We smashed it.
See,
Well done.
to me, a T-bun is so satisfying because it's not too much work. It's great produce and great time.
Yeah?
Just shove it.
Listen, it's
Throw
like
it on the
watchmaking.
grill.
You need excellent cooks and excellent products to make a great watch.
No, but Alex, thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Really,
This was
really-
great fun. This was really fun, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like we're saying goodbye, but can we go and eat that?
Let's go. Let's go.
I don't want to miss. I've been looking at this and waiting for
Okay,
it.
I'll take this.
Careful, don't burn yourself. I'll take one of the salads.
Okay. Oh, this smells so good. Smell it?
I really want to eat it. Do you eat the fat or do you cut it out?
I
Oh,
cut
no,
out
you
the
have
fat.
to eat that.
Yeah. The purists, no pun intended,
Eat the fat.
eat the fat, but I feel like it's a bit.
It's a bit difficult to chew, I guess. I don't know. That's,
Yeah.
it gives me a good conscience thinking
Yeah,
that I'm
I-
not eating the fat.
Wait. So,
I like that.
so wait.
Go ahead.
It's time to taste. We've got this beautiful T-bone that we let sit for as long as we let it cook. I've learned well. And we've got our beautiful salads that Alexandre put together for us. And I'm very excited. All the words have left my brain at the sight of this beautiful T-bone.
Let's dig in. That's what.
Let's do that.
So, ladies first.
Thank you.
So, what are the questions?
This side we have sirloin, and then we have a beautiful fillet on there.
Thank you.
Alex, man. Thank you.
Dylan, you did a really good job cooking it to perfection.
It is.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you, my friend.
And I guess just dig in with some salad. All right.
With great pleasure. Cheers, guys. Thanks so much. This was great fun. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed it.
Time was limited in London, and we really appreciate you kind of slotting us in. And
Listen, I loved it. I'll come back if you want me to cook for you.
it was a pleasure. Thank you.
So Louis Vuitton. Listen, I think what they've been doing in the past 2 years in watches, it's incredible how they went from just a fashion brand making watches into a real watch brand.
Yeah.
Putting aside, Daniel Roth and Gerald Genta, that were originally watch brands, but I mean the whole they've really created their credentials. Well, obviously there's the Fabrique du Temps, but then the way they're kind of branching out with the Creative Independence Award, the partnerships they're doing with first with Acrivia, and now with Kari Voutilainen. They're really speaking to a specific crowd. And what's really interesting is we're talking about independence.
Yeah.
They're trying to get themselves to have this image of independence. I mean, Daniel Roth, when they launched a subscription series Louis Vuitton does not need subscriptions, right? They have the funds, but they created this whole, mystique around, they were independent brand. Daniel Roth is independent. We're going to create subscriptions, and then now they work with independent watchmakers. I think it's fascinating. They're really, really doing a good job.
What I find really, really interesting is that Louis Vuitton or LVMH as a company, this is really a passion project.
Yeah.
It's not driven by profits. I mean, 12 watches of that is like a keychain from
Exactly.
LV.
Exactly.
So I think it's so nice that they're actually going not just 10%, but they're going 110% to try and almost craft something really unique, really, really special. And we did see that with the Acrivia collaboration. And I believe it was 10 pieces, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. They're not going to make any money out of that. But it's good to see. It kind of reminds me of the patrons that brands had in the early part of the 20th century who, went to a watch brand and asked them to make something. Here they're doing for themselves almost, but they're like a patron of these smaller brands. And Kari Voutilainen is not a small brand in the world of watchmaking, but making 75 watches a year is tiny, right?
How much do you think we owe it to Joanna?
I don't know. I mean, he obviously seems to be a brilliant young man who loves watches, who's very passionate when you speak to him about watches, which sometimes in this industry, when you speak to CEOs, they're about numbers and not about the watches. And he's really passionate. So I think, he maybe brought a total different view. He's young. He comes from a different background. So I think they definitely put, I think the father put the right guy at the right place, because they put somebody who's really passionate about watches and about watches in general and not about only what he's making.
Yeah, that's the thing. You see him. Please, let's.
Shall we dig in?
Yeah. You see him as an individual. He's his own collection, like the things that he wears. Mm-hmm. It's not just Louis Vuitton.
No.
And like you said, you speak to him, and his passion is so deep, and
he knows what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He's as they say, wise beyond his years. He really knows what he's talking about. So no, Louis Vuitton is very and Louis Vuitton, the brand, the watches, is very surprising. I think they did a fantastic job with their releases this year. Mm-hmm. No, it's interesting to see how they're pushing, what we consider as horology and design, etc. So
the converge was no.
Beautiful. Wow. Beautiful, the tambours.
My first watch was a Louis Vuitton tambour.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. There we
It's
go.
unfortunately been stolen since, but I'm excited to rediscover Louis Vuitton.
I haven't seen them in the flesh, the new releases. I guess you guys have.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
By the time this airs, probably.
So clean.
This is super good.
Yeah.
Yes, and if watches don't work out, we can open an eatery.
What would we call it?
Time to taste. Treat market. You know what? Tonight I was saying, as soon as I get home tonight, I want to go grab a steak. You guys read my mind. Perfect.
You can, we can put it in between the two of you, and whomever comes up with the answer to a question I ask first gets to ring the bell and answer it first.
That's like in Jeopardy.
It is.
It's a very unfair advantage for Alexandre because he's a veteran in this industry and his knowledge is far greater than
You're calling him old.
Nice. That was just a way of saying this guy's old. Thank you, Dylan.
You're in.
Okay, bye guys.
How much would you go for in auction?
Yeah, you know. I remember when I was having lunch with Abraham Louis Breguet, it was learned a lot about him from him.
Who invented the balancier?
He was Dutch. Huygens.
You'll have to sell it.
Well, since you have Dutch heritage.
Absolutely. What brand released the first casquettes?
Jean Pedro? No.
Yeah.
Hey, it was.
No? Okay. Yeah, let me have that one.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that Max bought the casquettes IP to create the HM5.
No, I think he wanted to revive the brand, and it never happened.
All right. And then Amida recently purchased it, right?
Yeah.
And they kind of brought this.
I think Max had purchased Amida.
Oh, okay.
That was
So
my understanding.
Was Amida for before Jean Prégo in creating the casquette?
No, I think it's more or less at the same time. Wait, let me check, and then if I'm right, you can keep this. If I'm wrong, you cut it out.
That is definitely going to be a real. Just you'll never know what we cut out.
Well, I'm sure the audience will correct us one way or another.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
What year did Jean have his first launch under his own name?
Wristwatch or pocket watch?
Wristwatch.
1993.
I have no idea.
We sold it.
1593?
1593?
Yeah, it just went in.
Yeah, 15 was the 15th timepiece he had ever made, and 93 was the year it was made. Actually, it was the second wristwatch he made, but the first one he ever sold. Yeah, first one is still with him.
And for a phenomenal price. I mean, it was just...
Or at 8 million US. But I mean, it's a historical piece. It's doesn't surprise me.
See, well, what's really interesting about that is I'm a big fan of François Bourgeon and obviously his journey, I guess with everybody else, is that when you look at now the top 10, most expensive watches ever sold, it puts him right off there.
Oh, he's like systematically in the big boys. He's definitely. I think he's the only living watchmaker who's directly all the way up there. And you know what? He's been around for. He's created his brand in 1999. So it's 25, 26 years. And he's what he's managed to do. And what's interesting is he's always stuck to his philosophy of what he was doing, his designs. And he was not successful at the beginning. Obviously, he didn't have the success he has today, but he always remains true to what he does. And what I find brilliant is from day one, the first watch that he ever made on any model, he kept for himself because he had the idea of having a museum and having it. And supposedly his museum is in the works and will open in Geneva in a not too distant future.
It's I've had the privilege of going to the manufacturer, the workshop in Geneva, doing a tour, and he's there. He's got his own desk, and if I'm not mistaken, every new model that comes out, he constructs it and deconstructs it himself.
Yeah, I mean, he's still true to. He's a watchmaker. He loves watchmaking. He still makes watches. As you said, the first model he's the one who makes it, and then his watchmakers reproduce, but the first one comes from him.
It's incredible story.
Where is the watchmaker Tzepek from?
Go ahead. Okay. The original guy, he was from Poland.
Yes, it was. Seriously. What's the most expensive watch to go out on auction?
31 million. That was charity. So it's 17.5 million, which was Paul Newman's Daytona.
How come everybody snobbed Paul Newman or not snobbed, but it was very underrated until a few years ago, or
The actor or the watch?
the watch.
No, I mean, seriously, the Paul Newman Daytona is the watch that in the 80s relaunched the trend of vintage watch collecting. It is probably, and that's why it fetches such an amount, it's because it's the most iconic wristwatch ever. I mean, you don't have that many people who've given their name to a watch. Here you have the guy who gave his name to the watch, and he was wearing it. And it started a trend, and it's the most known model from the most known brand. I mean, it's huge. It's having the original ring from the Lord of the Rings or something.
Name 3 Rolex ambassadors.
Roger Federer.
While he's chewing, Leonardo DiCaprio.
And Sir Jackie Stewart. Name 2 brands that are present on the F1 track.
Azov.
As of 2025.
Richard Mille.
Moser.
And tug it out. So takes over the whole thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
What's the brand Arnold and Son known for?
The modern Arnold and Son, right?
Modern, yeah.
Their big moon phase.
Yet.
No, sorry. Big moon phase.
I believe so, yes. Who owns it?
David Hugh, the base seven. 1960. Yeah, now you have to play. Okay. Name 3 of the Betun's signature elements in their movements. Or 1.
What do you mean?
What?
You're the Bitoon guy.
The silicone balance ring.
Yeah.
I don't know, say big moon face. And the fact that they use titanium and it's heated to blue. Here we go. So
They heat the titanium in different temperatures to have different colors.
what has been your most exciting auction that you've ever handled?
To be honest, auctions are nerve-wracking because you work really hard for 6 months to curate the sale, to make great photos, to market, etc. And you have no idea how the market's gonna react to your watches, your selection, and your work until the day of the sale, because it's when clients are there and they're bidding, which shows that you made the right choice in bringing such and such watch to the market. Each one is really exciting. I would say the next one is very exciting. The one we'll have in May. There's going to be some very cool stuff, things that we haven't seen on the market for decades. But right now, I think the most exciting that I had was Reloaded, which was a theme auction we had in November, 2024, dedicated to the rebirth of mechanical watchmaking, which brought me back to when I started being really interested in watches. So it was also a very romantic approach, rediscovering these brands, what they had done, and remembering how I reacted to these launches, etc. at the time. So that was very exciting for me.
That's incredible. I mean, I find that, when you do those previews, people get to touch, feel these watches, and, it gives an extra layer of appreciation for the work that you guys do. Because, unless you go to the previews or unless you're actually at the auctions, and, for a lot of people, until I actually had an opportunity to go and see an auction live, all you're doing is bidding behind the screen, and you don't realize the actual work that goes around. You do world tours, these watches travel, you travel the amount of air miles, and the marketing and everything to tell the stories of the.
It really goes back to what we were saying at the beginning. It's all about the human contact and touch. And obviously, you travel the world, and what's great is, with these exhibitions, it's basically like a horological museum that comes to you, and you get to see every 6 months watches that sometimes you only seen in photos, or you didn't even know that exist, and you can look at them, spend time with them, put them on the wrist. And the grand finale is I really suggest that anyone who can go to one of our auctions, Geneva, Hong Kong, or New York, because it's their fun. It's I don't like to say it's a show, but it really is entertaining. And sometimes I'm like on these different WhatsApp groups, and when you have two bidders in the room or on the phone, and I get these messages, yeah, I want so and so to win. He looks like a good guy. I want so, and so it's like a tennis match, and people are rooting for one or the other, and then it's fun, and I really do invite you to come just for the atmosphere and the ambiance in one of our auctions. It's great fun.
I have a confession to make.
Don't tell me you've never been.
Oh, of course I have.
Oof.
No, it's
Okay.
well. I feel like you put the bar so high. No, I may or may not have a paddle like this. It's number 18. And
You know what? I'm delighted that you have one. I hope you put it in a prominent space in your office, so all your clients who come, they see the paddle.
for a full year and a half in my office, because throughout the Geneva Watch Days, we had these large posters, and for various brands, they all had an icon or a watch or just a picture. And for Phillips, you had a huge picture of Oral, which ended up being in my office for a year and a half. So I had Oral looking over me with a hammer. It was a motivation to work. I'll hit your head if you don't. But I wasn't close enough to Oral to tell.
So you stole a paddle.
So, I didn't do it on purpose, I have to admit, but if that's okay, now that I've admitted it, I probably should bring it back.
No, just keep it. No way. It's been canceled. Number 18 has now been canceled
Why?
because it was under somebody's name, and now no, a lot of clients walk off with the paddles as a.
I know you give this little speech saying don't leave with the paddles at the end, and I didn't realize until it was at my place after wrapping everything up at Geneva.
It's okay. It happens. You didn't do it on purpose.
4 a.m. and I was like, oh, I've got the paddle. I can never.
Consider it as a parting souvenir for all
Hope
you
we
guys.
don't part too long.
Or you can come back in May
with the
and use it.
Same 18.
Exactly. Your lucky number.
Or I'll do that. Do you remember what your first auction was? Live auction.
I want to say 2021. Did you get back to live auctions in 2021?
Yeah, we did the first. We did our live auction actually in end of June 2020.
Which is a great success, if I remember right now.
I mean, it was right before COVID. It was right after the first kind of lockdown. We had the auction, but nobody in the room.
Yeah, it's just all of
So we're all on the phone, but we're holding a live auction with the auctioneer and everything. And it was after the first couple of lots, we're just looking at each other saying, what's happening? People were going mental, like just bidding like crazy, throwing their money at us. It was a shock. And it was the first of 2 years of total crazy, I won't say excess, but of excitement. Which has calmed down, which is, I think, more is healthier for the market. It makes sense. Things that are very rare or in super quality, they go at very high prices. Things that are more like commodities, they're stable. But I would say today, the market, the prices make more or less sense. Right at the beginning of COVID, sometimes you were left scratching your head on why. So yeah, it was fun. I have good fun memories of our COVID years because we always had to try to find a way to hold the auction, have the exhibitions, have people come in, but you can only have like 10 people at a time. Separate them with with enough distance, etc. So And once again, people at the time were hungry for human contact. You know, it's not good to be all by yourself all the time, cooped up in home. So they made the efforts, the clients, to even fly over, come to Geneva, to, you know, even if there could only be 4 people talking to each other, to sit at a table and talk about watches in little groups. So it was,
Do you, it really coincided with the rise of independence, or do you think that the independence starting to become trendy before?
I think, I mean, independence, I remember it was in 2018.
So it's like
We had we did a non-selling traveling exhibition with some independents. We came to London, we're in New York, etc.
yeah.
And then in 2019, we actually held in Geneva a really interesting exhibition dedicated to independence, and we had asked all the ones we knew, our friends, to bring watches, but only the prototypes or the original pieces of what they had done. So Jean had brought us his first pocket watch. He had his very first wristwatch. Kari had brought his first school pocket watch. Dufour had brought his prototypes. Ratchabri had brought prototypes. So it was really, we were diving into, you know, the origins of what these great watchmakers were 5, 6, 10, 30 years ago.
I guess we're very blessed because, you know, for the time we have access to these incredible humans, you know, these geniuses.
Exactly.
Well, and you know, it would be amazing to travel 200 years behind and, you know, speak to Louis Breguet and try to get into his mind. And 200 years, maybe more.
250 years. That's when they're celebrating their anniversary. But
And we have access to ask them questions, to get into their heads.
I mean, you really have to say that Abraham Louis Breguet was he invented modern watchmaking 250 years ago. And not only technically, he invented marketing. He was selling to all the glamorous people of the time who were just aristocrats and royals. He invented, you know, slimmer cases, the guilloche on the... I think he took the timepiece and he turned it from a utilitarian tool for telling time to a true status symbol. And that is what, you know, the current marketing of watches is 250 years later.
He was very good friends with Arnold, right? From Arnold's son, or
I think their sons worked did internships. You know, Breguet's son went to London, and Arnold's son came to Paris to work with Breguet.
So you are the head of watches for
Europe and Middle East.
Europe and Middle East. Now, my question is, do you find that the trends of what people in Europe and Middle East collect, are they quite different?
It's very different types of collectors. Europe, it's a much more mature market. People have been collecting basically for the past 100 years. And a lot of the collectors in Europe are, I would say, an older generation. They're like 50 plus. The Middle East, and they collect more, I would say, traditional watches. The more traditional brands. Whereas in the Middle East, the clientele is much younger. And I'm saying like anywhere between 25 and 35, 40 years old. The market is not as mature as Europe because the collecting basically started maybe 20, 30 years ago. But this new generation that is coming now to the market is very much interested in watches that are more avant-garde, independence a lot. Younger watchmakers who are basically the same age as themselves. So it's quite different in terms of it's the same approach, it's the same passion, it's the same love, but it's not the same type of watches.
So what country do you think within the Middle East is the most rising in terms of collectors?
I mean, the Middle East, it's basically it's basically the GCC countries. So it's the Emirates, it's Qatar, it's Kuwait, Saudi, Bahrain and Oman. They all speak the same language, but every of these countries has a different level of maturity in terms of watches. Obviously, the Emirates and Dubai, it's the biggest market currently. Kuwait, there's a lot of, it's a small country, but a lot of knowledgeable collectors. Qatar is growing, but I think Saudi Arabia is going to be the biggest, because first of all, it's a very big country.
Yep.
I believe there's 40 million people, and it's growing. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of projects. So it's a very interesting. I would say it's a very interesting market to see how it develops. The whole Middle East, the whole GCC. Yeah.
Well, Alexandre, thank you so much. It's been a true pleasure to have you with us.
Pleasure was really I really had fun. Seriously, it's a brilliant idea. It was, and it really felt like we're cooking and eating with friends. So it was really nice, excellent. And I wish you both a lot of luck. Not luck, because you don't need it, but a lot of fun going forward in this adventure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
It was so great to.
Oh, very awesome.
Thank you for spending a little while with us, and we'll see you in the next
And
episode.
just a quick thank you to the restaurant Osteria Fiorentina for allowing us to use their beautiful space and being very patient with us. So thank you very much to them as well.
Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you for episode 4.
Yep.